right guys, so we've got a ton to do today because today we are going back to the track. If you guys watch our last video, we've got the low side aux pump all figured out. We've also done a little bit of testing with the bell mouth ram air piece from Prey Performance. So today we're going to be going to the track. Now before we get to the track stuff, guys, I do want to give a huge shout out and thank you to each and every one of you guys that is part of the Speed Squadron. You guys are amazing. If you'd like to join the Speed Squadron, make sure to hit the thumbs up if you like the videos, consider subscribing, and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all of our builds and all the stuff we do here on the channel. I gotta say, I love the look of the stock wheels, but there's just something about a drag pack, especially with the B-locks in the back. This thing is good to go, and now we are ready to head out to the track, guys. One thing that I did find when I was doing this, guys, is my exhaust on the driver's side had come loose. It was still hanging on, but barely. So luckily I got in there, fixed it, and adjusted it. One thing that actually caught my attention and made me realize it was loose was my wideband here, guys. At idle, this thing was showing like 20, 18, 19 AFR just idling, and it should be fixed now. So there we go. Look at that. You can tell it's definitely not sucking in any more air from the outside. Let's head to the track. We gotta, again, we're at 54% alcohol. We're gonna bring that down to about 50%, get a little bit more fuel, and then head to the track and hopefully run some good times. The weather's not the best today. I do have my passenger seat in, so we're gonna see just what it'll run, basically full weight. And we made it to the track. The car is running really good. Ended up at about E52. We do have the filter on right now. I've got the bell mouth and all that we're gonna test. The weather here is pretty chilly. It's actually pretty good, so we should be able to see some good runs and hopefully get some good times out of this thing. But anyways, let me go ahead and prep the car, check everything, and we'll see you on the first hit. So got my helmet, brand new, got it on Amazon, pretty awesome. And we're good to go. I found the draggy, so we are gonna have draggy numbers, so that is gonna be perfect. And right now we're just gonna go do a shakedown pass. The car is still hot, but we want to just see where the AFR is at, where all that is at now that we adjusted that exhaust leak, and go from there. Ooh, good burnout there. All right, this is really sticky here. Let's see how we do. I'm pretty sure I left it in manual. Typical, huh? Typical. Anyways, I guess luckily this is a track panel, so we can go back and try it again. Back in drive now. All right, let's see if it'll shift. It's in drive. Okay, there we go. Now, felt a little funky there. Let's go back and check the logs and see if we can tweak something and go from there. I adjusted the fueling. I kind of dialed it back so we can get a better AFR. We'll do one more run and then go from there. If it still kind of struggles or feels like it needs some more help, then we're gonna have to lower down our E content, guys, so that the car's fuel system can keep up on the high side. Let's see if that little slight adjustment that we did on the fuel helps out here. All right, good burnout. All right. Woo! Feels so much better, guys. That's what I'm talking about. So much better on that. Man, that felt so much better. Wow. It's crazy how just a slight little fuel adjustment makes a huge difference on these tunes, guys. That's why having a good tuner is so critical, and logging everything that you're doing is super critical, because you got to be on top of all of that stuff. Now let's go check out what the time slips are and show you guys the differences between our baseline run and our adjusted slight tiny fuel adjustment tune run was. All right guys, so we got the car cooling down, but let's go ahead and talk about the runs that we had. So the first run you guys see here, and I'll put it on the screen, this is where it was basically running richer and just bogging down. Basically the system was calling for more fuel, and it was basically just not happy at all. And you can see it did a great 147 60 foot, but then after that it was just downhill from there. Only did a 667 at 103 and a 1043 at 129.6. So really low mile an hour. The car was just struggling on that run. And if we look at the dragging for that run, you'll see a 1045. So it was pretty exact. Now this one says a 131 to the 60 to the quarter mile, but then we did adjust the tune. We got rid of a little bit of fuel on the middle portion, and sure enough guys, it was hands down dialed in perfect. This thing was amazing off the launch and felt really good across the board. And here you go, the track slip shows it right there, guys. Check it out. A better 60 foot of 146, a 649 in the 8th at 108.4, and finally a 1012 at 134 miles an hour. Now I don't know about you guys, but that is amazing. 10-1, and all we did was basically have the aux fuel system in there with the E50, and it's full weight, guys. I still have the passenger seat in there. Again, the biggest improvement on this, guys, is that this was ran hot lapped. So this was a 10-1 hot lapped at 134. Now we've got the fan on, letting it run so that we can cool this thing down, and we're probably gonna put a little bag of ice on there and go ahead and try to run a nice cool down pass. Now I went back and looked at the logs, and we still needed to adjust the first gear shift, guys. It's shifting at like 6,100 RPM. So I went ahead and I adjusted that slightly, tweaked it a little bit. So hopefully this thing will shift at 6,500 and give us that extra little oomph in first gear. So between the slight shift adjustment and the cool down of the supercharger, hopefully we can see 998. Now while we wait for this thing to cool down, I'm gonna go grab some ice, put it on there, and let's go check out some of the cars that are out here. There's some really badass rides here. Check this thing out. Look at how wide that tire is on this one from Excessive Racing. Got 392 on a drag pack. A ton of pretty cool cars out here, guys. One of the cooler ones has got to be this wagon CTSV. This thing is insane. Check out that thing sticking out of the hood. Yep, that's definitely some kind of turbo with a lot of power. Completely gutted. Oh yeah, that thing's pretty nice. And then check this one out, called Kraken. This thing looks sick. Huge turbo. This thing I'm sure is running really good as well. And check out the interior. Look at all those electronics. That is wild. All right guys, let's see if this cold weather is nice to us. All right, got a good burnout. We're in drive. Here we go. that felt good. It's still short shifted first gear, which I kind of expected that to happen, guys, because we had just flashed that trans tune, so I expected that to happen, that short shift there. But man, this thing did really good. Car unfortunately still short shifted there. It was about 6100 RPM. Now that is normally the case when you flash the trans on these. For some reason, that first time it goes through wide open throttle, it doesn't actually register the changes. So this next time around, I'm not going to mess with the trans tune, and it should ideally get us back into a better shifting range. But even with that short shift, guys, we did improve on our time. So it was on the draggy here, you can see a 10:09 at 136.2 with a 150/60 foot. And if we look at the track time, which we have here, and I'll post that on the screen, it did a much better 60 foot, a 144 versus a 147, which is great. It did a 6.46 at 108 almost 109 miles an hour in the 8th, and a 10:06 at 134.9, basically 135. That is awesome. 10.0s, practically running the same exact time that I was running when I had the seat out, and those seats are pretty heavy. They're about 60 pounds, 60, 70 pounds. So really awesome, amazing, and just goes to show how much E85 really helps. So it was running E38 last time, and this time it's running E50, and it is doing just as good, almost as good, in worse DA. Keep that in mind, guys. We're at like 500 DA, whereas last time when it ran at 998, it was at negative 1600. So in similar DA, this thing probably would have been running 9s already. Now let's just try to see if we can get a little bit faster time by putting in the ram air box that goes on this thing and see what that does. So we do have to do a tune adjustment, so we'll go ahead and swap that out, load up the new tune. We have to add a little bit more fuel since we're going to be grabbing a little bit more air, and then get back in the track, do a hot lap, check where our adjustments are, and see if we need to do anything else and adjust. And while I get all that taken care of, obviously it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of cooling done here. Got the tune loaded up and the bell mouth installed. So yeah, we went ahead and per Brett's request, we added fuel across the board. So it's got extra fuel, and hopefully the fuel system will keep up with E50, but we'll see. We'll be able to tell right away if it can't keep up or not. Got a check engine light and engine reduced power. Alrighty guys, so we added a little too much fuel for the fuel system to handle, and was running pretty rich in 11.0 in the 10s, and that is why you saw what you saw. And if we look at the drag strip time, it was a 10:49 at 120, and that's of course because it kind of cut off at the end, but it had only done a 664 at 103, which is similar to what it was doing last time when it was running the same way. So we had a little too much fuel for the extra airflow that we got out of the bell mouth. Maybe one of the reasons why the bell mouth isn't as effective is probably because, I mean, the car is restricted at the blower and that small throttle body. If we had a ported blower and throttle body, that bell mouth might actually do something for it. So I did go ahead and I adjusted the tune slightly, and we'll go ahead and go back and do one last run with that bell mouth, see if we can't get it to make a good clean pass. Let's get back in the lanes and get the car ready to go for the next pass. All right guys, bell mouth really didn't gain too much. Now the car was hot lapped, but here is the drag slip time, and we did a 144 60 foot, which is good, a 647 at 108 to the 8th, which is very close to what we were doing with the cool down run and the Rotofab filter. So actually not too bad. And then a 1011 at 134.6, and of course this is all hot lap. So does it work? It actually does. It might not seem like it, guys, but the DA is getting worse. We're at 700 versus 500, and if we look at our other hot lap pass, it was this right here where we had a 146 60 foot, a 649 to the 8th at 108.4 with a 1012 at 134.5, and that was at 0 DA. So in 700 DA more, we were able to run that same time, actually a tad bit faster using the bell mouth. So does it work? I would say it does, and it would probably work and it would probably work even better if the car was more bolt-ons like ported blower and a bigger throttle body to really help blow that air, guys. So really give a thumbs up to that bell mouth. It does work. And unfortunately the car was still short shifting at 6100 RPM. I guess I can keep adjusting the shift points and get it to go closer to 6400, but as it sits, I'm really happy with the car, guys. Now the car has been doing really amazing, guys. I can't complain one bit, but of course that shifting is what's kind of irking me. So put the filter back on, guys. That's gonna be it for today's video, guys. The car always does amazing, does really well. I enjoy the Camaro ZL1, and with just a little bit more using that DSX Aux Pump, we were able to get this car full weight to run a 10.0 in a worse DA than when we ran a 998. So pretty much making a little bit more power now with the extra E, and that is helping the car go down the track faster. So with that being said, guys, let me know what you think about the car in the comments, and what do you guys want to see next from the ZL1. Really want to hear from you guys, and hopefully we can get some of that stuff done for you guys. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.